Welcome everyone to the Island Life podcast, where we journey onto the island of discovery to relive some of the best and worst moments of Survivor. My name is Will, an experienced Survivor fan, 49 seasons deep, and I will be your guide. And joining us on this adventure is our rising Survivor fan with 15 seasons under her belt, Anne.
Hello.
And of course, we also have our Survivor newbie, the brand new Survivor fan who just finished his 7th season of the show. I give you Survivor F.
How's everyone doing? Great to be here.
Yes, great to be here as we continue through fans versus favorites. The number one thing, and we talked about this off the pod too, is so far, it's a versus season where they're evenly matched, at least numbers-wise. 2 immunity wins for the favorites and 2 immunity wins for the fans. How are you both enjoying it so far?
I like it. I mean, I'm sure you agree as well on F in regards to we always like the fact that it is equal. Like, I think that in the new era, I always say that it's a constant where one team always fails and always loses, and they're dwindling and dwindling, forcing them on a tried switch or like early merge or some sort of merge, and it's just annoying. I think all three of us can agree that we do not like tribe switches or tribe swatches and swatches swaps, sorry, swaps, not tribe swatches, swaps, and I do not like it. I don't like tribe swaps, and I feel like the fact that they're more even allows them to not need to be forced to do tribe swaps and like mixes and like, we went through a season where there were 2 swaps because one team was doing so bad, and I just can't do it. So I'm glad that it's even ground, so I hope that there's no tribe swapping or anything like that going on.
Yeah, agreed on all accounts. I think it's too early to say about the tribe swaps, but my hope is we don't go down that route. And with the way that we've been having this back and forth, which we've discussed in detail, we generally all like, it makes it a little bit less predictable in terms of how the season's going to go. If one tribe is just dominating, you're just kind of you're beating a dead horse at that point, and it's never fun to see that. It's nice to follow a set of underdogs, but the story can create that sort of situation in a post-merge setting regardless, so you don't necessarily need a tribe to be dominating to get to that storyline. But it was described to us that Micronesia has been one of the more popular seasons, and I can certainly see why. I think it brings a lot that's interesting to the table. We see a lot of new mechanics put in play compared to other seasons that we've seen, returning survivors and not necessarily giving you a sort of glimpse at, oh, they're just dominating, but giving you the strategic mindset that they're implementing within their camp. They just seem like the more talkative group because they've been there and done that before. And yet at the same time, it's not necessarily just an advantage. We see that there can be some downsides of being a returning contestant where, because someone's seen one aspect of your game, they can use that against you, as I've said before. And we've seen that over the course of these next 2 episodes that we'll get into. It's been a great start, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the rest of the season turns out. Too early for me to claim it as one of the best seasons already. I think for me, again, season 47 has had such a high bar. But, in the early goings, this has been a top season for me so far. Not exactly the top season, but definitely could be like a number 2 in my rankings.
Oh, wow, I like to hear that. Quick question, F, like, what would you think would make you not like this season as much? Like, I'm not predicting the future here, but what would you think would be elements of stuff in a season where you're like, "Okay, now I don't like it as much?" Or is that hard
That's
to kinda say?
Yeah, it's a good question. I like things to be unpredictable, and with the amount of seasons I've already watched so far, if things go like a certain route where you can predict how a storyline for a character goes from start to finish, or you see a winner pick very early on that ends up being true, then, it's you get a good read and it's like it's not as enjoyable because what you have playing out in your mind, it turns out to be that, which is interesting. But for me, I like the unpredictable aspect of things. So I do like how there's strategy forming here, and I would like to think that we don't see too much. If we continue to go down a path of, okay, fans versus favorites, and they just stick to these two tribes, and favorites end up dominating the rest of the way, that would probably cause me to not enjoy it as much. I like the back and forth we're having so far. That was the early gripe I had, that if it's something where just you're thinking, oh, favorites are going to have this major advantage and it's going to just bolster them the rest of the way through the season, then to me that wouldn't be as enjoyable. The fact that it has not gone down that route so far, it's making it more interesting. But if it's still, we're still capable of having that sort of end. So I would say, if it's a clear blowout win for favorite side and they continue to dominate challenges, I'd probably not enjoy it as much.
I'd say the other way would be bad too. Like if it turned out like these returning players, these favorites had all fumbled and they're all like they're all awful challenges and there's chaos and the fans dominate the whole season, that also might not be. I mean, that would be exciting to start because that's unexpected, but maybe that wouldn't last.
Honestly, I feel like that would make for a very interesting storyline. I might actually enjoy watching that. That like Ozzy, for instance. Ozzy's like really good at challenges. James really good at challenges. They have some strategic players on their end. They built alliances, and yet for whatever reason they cannot click and operate together as a team. And the fans can somehow exploit that. Like that would be fun to see. Like obviously, like I'm saying, like you don't want to see continuous one team is just continuing to dominate. That would start to get old. I think you need to bring variety into these challenges, but at the end of the day, once you get into a post-merge setting, that's not going to matter, and it's going to be each individual for himself. But I feel like if the fans can continue to exploit what like the favorites have done in the past and turn like whatever advantages they have into potential weaknesses, that would make for a very interesting storyline.
I could see that. I guess for me, it would need to be. It can't be like precisely what I said, because I said like favorites are totally fumbling. It would need to be more the fans overcome. So maybe like Ozzy and James are great in challenges, but the fans are even better, surprisingly. Like I think it would be something like
Yeah.
that, where like I wouldn't want to just be handed to them and they just turned out to wins. But yeah, very
Agreed.
exciting. So one thing, how do you both feel about? I think Jason's the one who kind of said this, because he was like, it's sad because it's raining and everything and it's miserable. Their camp isn't great. Yes, it's 2-2 in immunities, and therefore the tribe numbers are even. But the favorites have won every reward challenge, so it's 4-2 in terms of overall challenges.
I think it is hard because in the beginning, especially what's going on right now in Micronesia, that's a lot of rain, heavy rain, it's cold, and during their rewards, they get like the food, like the chicken and the tarp, all things that could benefit them and help them win and help morale. And I feel like a lot of times it is like it's mind over matter a lot of times. And unfortunately, I feel like the Survivor fans crew isn't doing the greatest in regards to the mentee. They are very beat mentally and maybe physically. But they proved me wrong in terms of they're doing quite well. They're evenly matched in terms of, as you said, they are losing the same amount of people. It's not one over the other. So I feel like they're holding their ground, and it's hard not to like want to like um be like behind them and support them on that, because they are pushing through, they are struggling a lot, and it is hard to play a game where these people have experience over you and also keep on winning these rewards, because rewards help you with like, food and morale and stuff, and I feel like they don't have that right now.
Yeah, I think the initial takeaway I had is, man, the favorites can really get together well and dig deep and work collectively as a team if the goal becomes send one specific person to Exile Island. And that's really when you see them execute and dominate in those rewards challenges. We've been talking about them having a back and forth, but yeah, when it comes to those reward challenges, the favorites are very clearly ahead there. And they've done a good job of specifically sending one person from the fan side, in this case, Kathy, back over and over again to Exile Island.
Yeah, so let's talk Exile Island then. So it's been 3 episodes now because the first episode didn't feature Exile Island. So 3 episodes of Exile Island. Um, you're right, Kathy's been sent every single time. And then Cirie went with her, Amy went with her, and Ozzy went with her. And so it has taken 3 times going to Exile for the idol to have been found. And it was found. Ozzy's able to do it. Um, so has your experience with Exile Island been any better than the first time you all saw it?
I I think it's a little bit more exciting as you see them running around back and forth versus like we just saw them dig for a billion hours. Um, I I think it's comical that Kathy keeps like getting sent, like the Candace thing, where Candace kept on getting sent.
Yep.
And then, versus, like, Candace was having, like, a self-doubt, like, this whole thing going on where, like, everyone hates her, and she's just laying there, and Kathy's just having a full meet and greet with the past Survivor favorites. So, there is a little twist to it this time. Do I like it? I still don't like it. Do I like it a little bit more than I did before? Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Just a
think I'm
tiny
in the
bit, though.
same camp. It just feels like there's a little bit more focus this time in terms of how I'm looking at it. And the way I'm thinking about it this time around is because because there's like elements of how it's used as a punishment, yet at the same time, even for the people who win the rewards challenge, they get to send one of their own. It's a potential reward in a way. And even for the person who gets sent to Exile Island, being Kathy, as you mentioned, Ange, with it being a sort of a meet and greet, it gives her an opportunity to, assuming they get into a post merge setting, or for some reason we get into a tribe swap situation, it gives her an opportunity to build relationships with multiple members of the other tribe, which right now is not going to matter, but assuming she goes far enough, that could put her in a pretty good spot, even though she might seem weak right now. There's strategic elements that could be played there. And if you have a good enough social game, if you can build strong relationships, or if you can get people to even just trust you for a little bit, that puts you ahead of where the other people in your tribe are who don't have those opportunities. So I think I like it in the sense that I'm seeing how the strategic component of it can come into play and how it can potentially work its magic further down the season. So for me, it's something where I'm keeping an eye out for the aftermath. And as we've mentioned, how Ozzy has found like an idol there, we're seeing a resolution for what Exile Island becomes. So for me, yeah, I'm not necessarily a fan of Exile Island, but I do like the implementation better than in the other season that we watched.
Speaking of Ozzy, he doesn't just find it. He also decides, as he puts it, to take a page out of YAU-MAN's book and put a fake idol in the spot where he found the real idol, uh, which may or may not come into play. I mean, it's tough to predict because who knows who's gonna go to Exile Island? Like it's like I think we've seen some other times when there's a fake idol, like either someone, who was it? Was it Genevieve? Like flashes the fake idol to to someone else when they're trying to execute Operation Italy. That was in 47.
Yep.
Or uh, we've seen someone kind of just have. I think it was in 46 of like Kenzie and Tiffany just like have a fake idol there and just like hoping that it's Jess. I'm pulling deep here, but it was Jess, the second person to go home, just like hoping she finds it, which she does. So that's kind of more targeted. So what do you think of this version of a fake idol?
Uh,
It
I thought it was
it
so
just
smart.
kind of yeah, it just kind of came and went. They didn't put too much time into like him actually doing it. So it's for us,
Yeah.
we've seen it implemented before, and it's just like, how how much is it going to fool someone? We're not going to know until someone ends up actually finding the thing.
I mean,
True.
if you did look at it though, it is just like he painted a face on a stick. So that's my only criticism. Like, in terms of like we've seen people steal beads from stuff
That's
around camp and
true.
make
With the
stuff.
string
Now I
and then the
understand you're at
car.
Exile Island. There's not much to use, but I don't know.
I think it was good thought process, but I don't think like one is someone gonna actually find it, and two is someone gonna believe it. But at the same time, this is still like I want to say like to me it seems early still, like 16 episodes, 16 seasons, sorry. So what, 8 years worth of
Mhm.
Survivor. So like things do change. I mean, still things are still changing. So I mean, maybe you don't doubt that the stick is an idol, but maybe you do doubt it. I don't know. I think I guess you could just see like from all the other idols, they never look like this, so you're just kind of like a little sus about it, you know? Um, but, it did make me, like, appreciate the game of YAU-MAN, though, because you're like, "Okay." And we didn't watch his season. I think he said he's in Fiji? Was that
Yep.
Fiji? Oh my gosh, it's
Yes.
crazy to say Fiji because it feels
Yeah, no.
wrong to say it like
A
wait,
time where
wait a
that
minute.
was worthy of a subtitle.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Nowadays it's like, all right, all of them are Fiji, Fiji, Fiji. Like it's everything is Fiji. But I mean, I'm kind of pumped to see his game. I'm like, oh my gosh, I think he was really, really good. And like he's done nothing. He's done nothing wrong to anybody. He's helped out. He's a sweet little bean. I don't know why we were going for him, but whatever.
Well,
And
let's set the stage for YAU-MAN's situation though. So we're gonna focus on the first episode first, and then
oh
that's
yeah.
episode 3, and then we'll do episode 4. So overall, the story of episode 3 turns out to be the two four-person alliances facing off against each other. That's uh, Ozzy and Amanda and Parvati and James, and then Jonathan on the other side, Jonathan, Amy, Eliza, and YAU-MAN, with Cirie in the middle of those two. And it's ultimately which side she's been thinking about this from the previous episodes, but now she kind of needs to decide which group she wants to go with. And I thought it was fascinating. We saw both sides talk to her multiple times, different kind of pitches. We would see Cirie talk about it herself in confessional, back and forth, and and it gets fiery. Like a lot of the episode, even tribal council. Um, which side of this do you want to talk about? Jonathan's crew first? Do you want to talk about the Showmance's group, or do you want to talk about Cirie first?
uh, uh,
It's. I feel like the sticking point to me was the tension in this episode between Jonathan and Cirie. So like, I feel like however we can set that up would best serve as like our
So
talking point
sure,
specifically for this episode.
sure. So here's the thing: Jonathan and company. So first of all, they are going to target Parvati. Mainly, it is true that they're worried about her being in a showmance with James, but also they're calling back to her previous season, Cook Islands, and being like, I don't know, like she can manipulate people. What if she's not just James she's manipulating? What if she manipulates extra people besides James? We can't have that. We're gonna target her. But it's 4 and 4, so we want Cirie. And Jonathan himself had actually already talked to Cirie in the previous episode, and it did sound like Cirie was willing to work with them. But it kind of comes to a head when Eliza and Jonathan are kind of looking off into the water, and they see Amanda and Parvati talking to Cirie, and Eliza's concerned. Jonathan actually says he's not concerned, but Eliza's pointing out like I would, if I was her, I would want to be like talked to and reassured. So just like, okay, we'll do that. We kind of don't see that happen for a while until like even after the challenge, and this conversation does not go well for Jonathan. It's kind of everyone up in Cirie's face, and Jonathan he's trying to say like, oh, they're all filling your head with lies, which are a bunch of BS, and you you said you'd be part of our alliance. I don't know why you would go against that. And some of what he's saying, I thought is like factually correct, but
Yeah.
it just does not come across well. So what'd you think of that whole interaction?
I feel like Jonathan from his prior seasons have this way of putting his foot in his mouth. Like he says these things and it just doesn't sound good. Like I get where he's going at. I know his like POV, but I just feel like sometimes he says things that just doesn't go well with like someone like Cirie. That it's like I feel like sometimes he feels very like trying to control the situation, but not having it when it's not in his control, he spirals down. And Cirie sees that and she does not falter. Like she's like, "No, I'm not listening to you. You're pissed off because I'm not listening to you, and I'm not gonna change the way I'm doing the things." And it's funny because Cirie is just talking about how like she wants like them to carry her, like they want to pull me. They gotta do stuff to pull me in,
Right,
you
yeah.
know? And then you just clip and you see her sitting down, looking in the water, chilling with the two girls rolling for her. And I'm just like, oh, they're winning her. They're winning her for sure. Because in that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, that is Queen Cirie. That's not Cirie. That's Queen Cirie. And the two little servants girls. Like I just felt like, oh my gosh, she's gonna pull it. Like I would rather have that where the two girls are gently talking to her. Final three, they're literally like these guys. I'm just using them. Like I'll drop them anytime I want. I'm gonna start. I'm just have a good time. This is Love Island X Survivor. Why not make it a little romancy? And I'll drop them anytime I want, sorry, and we're us 3, I'm down. Versus Jonathan is more so like, "Oh, they're lying to you, they're manipulating you, don't fall for these things," and Zuri's like, "I'm not stupid. I wasn't born yesterday. I play this game better than you. When did you leave? When did you get voted out in your season?"
That was savage.
That was,
I know,
yeah, that
I
was
was like,
harsh.
"Oh my god." I was like and then Jonathan couldn't even say, like, which one's like, "I don't know," but and it's just like, oh my
I,
god."
yeah, I think the thing that might have also solidified that for Cirie is like Jonathan's coming at you with a sense of like desperation. And if you already don't trust him, you're not going to be swayed by whatever he's telling you. And ultimately, that is what we saw. And it's one of those things where Jonathan was like really sticking to his guts and like not kind of taking his foot off the pedal, and it just was not working. Like it was not something where he was able to convince her to see things his way, even though like I agreed with some of what he was saying, but it was just the way he's communicating it. He really has to work on that social game. It's one of the reasons why he got eliminated in his own season prior to this one. And it's unfortunate to see like the same weakness that we saw from Jonathan before just kind of come out in an even a more, I guess, exaggerated manner so far this season. It didn't seem as blatant in the other season from what I recall, but it's like Jonathan just seemed very desperate in this episode, which was interesting because he was not himself even on the chopping block.
Yeah, I mean, but they're all experienced. They've all played before, so I imagine he's seeing the future. It's like, well, if we're being so obvious that it's 4 versus 4, if Cirie goes with them and votes one of us out, now it's 5 versus 3, and we're gonna be screwed. That's probably why he's acting desperate. And I was trying to think of like, is there a different way he could have gone about it? Because the problem is he gets stuck. His main point is they're lying to you, but he can't defend himself against Cirie's comeback. Is like, well, what you're telling me is the same thing that they're telling me. So why should I believe you and not them? He didn't have a good enough answer for that, and I don't think I have a good enough answer for that. So the only the only other thing they could have done is not have Jonathan be the spokesperson. Then that might have been the only way. Like it's not like Ozzy didn't talk
Yeah,
to Cirie. Because if he
but
did, that would have been a harder conversation because I think Cirie would have wanted Ozzy and James to be like, "Oh, we'll leave the girls, no problem." And I don't know that they're gonna do that.
she just was very adamant about sticking with who, like she sees a threat in YAU-MAN, and she just was not really budging on that. And I know for me, like I was joking that like, oh, like she's just one person, but this could be like an interesting twist if for some reason both sides get tired of trying to convince her to see things their way and then just decide to vote her out. Like, rather than try to fight for her vote, they say, okay, well, like, if this is turning into a situation where she's ultimately driving the votes, like she's supposed to be our fourth person or she's supposed to be our fifth person. Why are we just kind of cowering to her? Let's just vote her out. Right. Like that's another situation I thought was coming up. What are your thoughts on that? Did you think that based on the discussions they were having, namely with Jonathan, did you see another result like come out in your head, like before they even went to tribal? Did you think there was an opportunity where she was potentially on the chopping block?
I feel
Well,
like
let me
there
just
was
reframe that
definitely that
slightly.
chance. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, let me just reframe it, Brit, so that we can talk about the other side. So the answer is yes, F. Because we talk about Jonathan's side, which is really only Jonathan, how he approached it. The other side is not like they didn't do it perfectly either, because at first it's only Parvati talking to her, and this might have been like at the beginning of this episode or a little bit before. When it's only Parvati, it's like, oh, Cirie, who would you want to target? But eventually, and Cirie wants YAU-MAN. But eventually, when it's the group, Ozzy and James, and even then a little bit of Amanda too kind of speaks up, they prefer to target Eliza instead of YAU-MAN. And now, like you said, Ange, uh, Cirie is wants to be wined and dined, and suddenly they told her, yes, we can vote YAU-MAN, but now they're changing their mind, like, oh no, we can't do that. And I'm like, ooh, like this is risky. Like you could totally like turn Cirie against you. Like, fine, you don't want to vote my way, then I'll vote you out.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting seeing her having such power because I feel like we sometimes talk about people when they're in that when during the merge they're in the like there's people that are in the middle, right? The people that
Mm.
have the least
The
amount of
swing
people, but they're
votes.
the swing votes, yeah, and they have power, but not like her. They have power in terms of which way they want to go, but not power in terms of who they want to vote. Like she had both. She had the power of which way she wanted to go, and she was like, I don't want YAU-MAN. It's either that or I don't want him, period. There's no other play. I don't care about who other ones. It's not the fact that she wants any of the other people out. It's just, I don't want YAU-MAN and that's it. My word is this is that's it. And it's just so funny because they like the other team, like the group of four, they're like, I don't like even James, like, I don't know why are we like just going with what she's got. Like, can we try someone like do was it Eliza they're trying to go for? And
Yeah,
then
Eliza.
and then even like you're right, Amanda was like, yeah, like then she's gonna make the call next time, and the next time it's gonna keep going, you know? If she feels like she could get away with this time, and then part of it's just like, well, it doesn't seem right to like not go with her word. And so it was like very interesting how much power she had. And it made me so intrigued on how she played on her prior seasons for them to all be so scared of her. Like this is Queen Cirie. Like this
Yep.
tribe's queen is Cirie. And I love that for Cirie. I'm just confused what was her gameplay and what is her gameplay now that makes her so scary. Because you're right, F. In the current seasons, I feel like it would have been like, wow, well, if she doesn't want to agree with me, well, let's take her out. Who the F cares? Like, all right, you're the one that's alone and like the fifth person on either side. So you don't have much power here. In a current season, if they were the swing vote, I'll just take whatever you agree. You say F, I won't budge. Let's F, go down F. I'm not gonna be like, no. I want Will. It's either Will or nothing. Like, no. It's just she's so charismatic. And I really think that's really cool. I just don't see it yet for me right now.
Yeah, and you brought up a really good point that I was going to touch up on myself and more specifically for YAU-MAN, just because we don't have the context in terms of like how they played in their seasons. There's some seasons that we just haven't gotten to yet. Seeing Cirie and seeing YAU-MAN in terms of like their presence and what they're doing and the threat level and, like just how much level of trust you should have in them, it makes this all seem very interesting, right? Like we don't have some of the context that other people might have watching this season. So like some of the things that may not make sense to us, might click a little bit better if we go back and actually watch some of those seasons. Because, for us, it's a little confusing why YAU-MAN is seen as threatening as he is. And in the same time, as you pointed out, like it's the fact that Cirie is able to have the presence that she does and be heard and people actually giving her the benefit of the doubt or being able to allow her to take the reins for deciding a vote, despite the fact that she's not really part of a majority. that is a very interesting twist that like I would not have expected otherwise.
Do we think, like, is anyone doing anything wrong? Like, let's take the showmances first. Are do you do you think they have a point? And like, are Amanda, Ozzy, and James more in the right of wanting to stand their own ground, not let themselves be controlled by an outsider, or is the Parvati more in the right of like, let's let's keep this person happy that we want to vote with, and also let's not make them mad next time by like us voting a different way. Like, because in theory, like what they could have done is Cirie still votes for YAU-MAN, but the four of them vote for Eliza. Like in theory, they could have done that, and then next time, I imagine Cirie be mad. So, did you find yourself leaning one way or the other in that debate?
Not really, just because I feel like you can accomplish the same common goal for that tribe regardless. Like, it's not cutting through their own majority, right? Like, for them, they're just essentially prioritizing who do we target first from the other side. And as long as it's not one of ours, like, yeah, like, it doesn't matter if you're making her happy. She's an ally today that you can cut out tomorrow.
I missed the very first part of that. So, are you saying that you are more
I, I
on the
I'm saying that
side of the
I'm saying it doesn't matter like what side, because ultimately I don't see it really changing their game plan, because for them it's not affecting their numbers, right? Like if they decided to vote with her or against her or just force their own vote, regardless, they're choosing someone else from the other side, right? And they're maintaining whatever majority they're trying to have. They're not cutting one of their own. It's not a question of Cirie saying, "Oh, one of the people that we have in our own majority, we need to do that, and we have to essentially find a way to minimize the damage." They're essentially just
Sure.
talking about, we need to prioritize getting this person we see as a threat out right now, or just waiting and getting them out at some point later, or potentially getting Cirie out. So I don't think it really makes a difference. I think it's just a
Yeah.
matter
Well, I
of,
guess the one thing is that it seems like she's not budging. So the choice is: do we keep A, do we just agree with her, vote for YAU-MAN? B, do we try to keep pushing her to vote for Eliza and hope she actually does? Or C, try something weird where like we vote for Eliza and then if she doesn't, maybe it'll work out anyway. Or so those are the stakes, I guess, in the situation.
Mm.
Ange, were you leaning any of those ways?
I interestingly enough, like I feel like okay, without putting my bias of like really being like I really love Yao Man. I think he seems like a really great Survivor player. And it's sad that we didn't get to see him a lot. I do think that I do agree in terms of Parvati being like, if we don't agree with her now, we're not gonna have like her vote. Like we're not gonna have her vote. And the numbers are important right now, you know? So I would rather tilt her our side than not have her our side and have her vote with us, you know. And sure, let's take out man. It's not like she's like saying someone from their team, you know. It's not like she's like, I want Ozzy out. It's Ozzy or nothing, you know. So it's more like, all right. I mean, we're gonna take them down anyways in the future. Let's slowly dwindle them off, you know. So it makes sense, you know. And in the end of the day, as long as they're strong, Cirie can't be queen forever, you know. So unless you know she's got something under her
Say,
belt,
I
I'm
say
not
you say
aware.
that.
Yeah, I know, right? I see Cirie on top 3 and she's the queen. I take it back, Queen Cirie. I'm sorry. But I feel like at this time seeing it, I would to grab my ally to get trust from her, I will get this first step of taking out the person she wants to take out in agreement. Like I mean, they attempted it, like they discussed it. I would try to discuss being like, "Hey, let's try out Eliza instead." But if it doesn't work, I'm not going to be going behind our back and doing a different vote because I don't think that's good in the future. And her number is important at this time. So, yeah, that's where I would go with.
I mean, they don't even have to wait that long, because if we're saying that they're for Amanda, James, Parvati, and Ozzy are together and they're strong together, then what, there's like 8 people and they have half the tribe at this point, right? Like they
Yeah.
just need to sway one person, or even if they don't, even if the others are divided in how they vote, they're in a pretty good spot, like after these episodes that we watched. So like they're not, I don't think they need to worry too much, however it goes one way or the other. And I think, yeah, as you're saying, that if they have to kowtow to her wishes right now, like it's not going to matter for that much longer.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, if you feel like it doesn't matter either way, you would just let Cirie do what she wants to do at that point. Like if all else is equal, well, let's guarantee this person's with us versus trying to do something else where now like what if she changes her mind at the last second and now Poverty gets voted out and we're screwed for the rest of the game. Um so last thing with this story, I guess, is focusing on Cirie. I agree. She looked great and came off great in this episode. But is this wise? Like being so stubborn, standing on business so much. It like F, you're right. They could have got sick of it. Like, and like Parvati could have gone to talk to Jonathan. Like, you know what? Let's just for this one vote, 8 people vote for Cirie.
Yeah,
That could
I
have
just,
definitely happened. Yeah, for
she's
sure.
just not in a big enough position of power herself to advocate for that. But like, it was a risky maneuver that just ended up paying off for her. There are people obviously taking notice of that. Like, James was essentially suggesting that, like, oh, like, she's getting to be troublesome to work with. So is anything going to happen right now? No, but like, it just, it puts people on pause around you, which I think is not a situation you want to get yourself in, especially this early in the game.
Yeah, yeah. Well, in the end, because of everything we talked about, plus really the nail in the coffin is Jonathan, for I guess foot in his mouth, like you said, Ange, because it means that regardless of what happens, Cirie's not voting with Jonathan, and so at that point, it looks hopeless. Their only hope is that they kind of overhear the dissent amongst the other people that maybe they'll split their votes out of stubbornness. Although Eliza's right, where she's like, they're not that stupid because Jonathan's like hoping like, well, maybe James is so stubborn that him and Ozzy will vote for Eliza, and then Parvati and Amanda and Cirie will vote for YAU-MAN, and therefore the 4 of our votes will be enough. But no, that wasn't gonna happen. So it is. Uh, the breakdown's a little weird, but it ends up being 6 votes, so not even 5, but 6 votes for YAU-MAN. Uh, the extra person was Eliza's, which you would interpret to mean Eliza saw the writing on the wall and was like, let me just vote with everybody else. Um,
Mm-hmm.
YAU-MAN and Jonathan stay strong and they vote for Parvati. And then Amy votes for Cirie, which bleeding a little bit into the next episode, she tries to explain it. I didn't really understand what she was saying. Maybe she
No, it
misread
didn't
and
make
thought,
sense.
maybe she thought what you thought, F, and based on what was happening at Tribal Council, everybody was going to turn on Cirie. Maybe it was something weird like that. But clearly she was wrong. so not good for Amy. And YAU-MAN goes home. A bit of a whimper from him. He just didn't get the screen time. Maybe a symptom of just he's an early boot, so he doesn't get a lot of the camera. He had a good moment making the fire the other episode. So I got a twist for you. I will still ask you, do you want to see YAU-MAN again? But first I'm going to ask you, do you want to see YAU-MAN's season based on this now? So you're going to get both. Do you want to see him in the past or do you want to see him in the future?
At some point, yes. I think in the short term, probably not. But at some point, it would be nice to see his season. Because like I'm just so curious. Like he's such an interesting case of there's a clear threat in him that others are worried about. But like if you're just watching this season so far, you wouldn't know anything. Like you'd be like, okay, well, he just seems like a nice person, somewhat nice person outside of like plowing Johnny Fairplay's face like on the side of the boat right there. But he seems like a pretty smart person, nice person that like you wouldn't think would be like such a controversial figure or like threatening, but apparently he is. And like it's not like he was dominating in challenges or anything, so it's just more out of like curiosity.
Yeah, I would love to see his prior season of him making a idol and stuff. I mean, it inspired Ozzy to do it. So I just wonder, was it also a stick or was it not? I need to know about this now. I'm curious. Was that the stick? I think seeing his current season today, I would love to see him back during this Fiji season. Do I need to see him more based off of this season? I think I'm okay, even though I really like him. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I just saw this season point blank without knowing he was like a fan, like a fan's favorite, I would probably say I really like him and he was very cutie, but I don't think he was like a returning survivor player that I want to see again. So I just want to see his original season, his OG season.
Gotcha,
Yeah,
gotcha. Yeah, and anytime a favorite gets voted off this season, I'm gonna ask you both questions. Do you want to see where they came from, and do you want to see them if they came back again?
I will point out that this episode had really good challenges, I would say. I really liked the challenges in this episode. Uh, Going back to the reward challenge, sends the losers team, Kathy, to Exile Island. This was the reward challenge where they essentially were playing football in the water. First team to score 5, where they take like these beanbag, like these essential,
Well, they're not beanbags. They're like
these like
big,
sacks.
like big giant sandbags.
Oh,
Like
they
if
had
you're preparing for a
sandbags,
flood.
yes. Taking them to their own sides, first to score 5 wins, and it got very physical, obviously, like, when you got James and then Joel on the other side, things are gonna be people are gonna be tackling people and running people down, and Eric's gonna be beating on women like he did in that episode.
Oh
Just
boy,
hitting them for no reason, like that, just some of his hits just felt unnecessary, but
he did the attitude adjustment finisher. If you know John Cena's moveset,
yeah, so
used to
I
be
liked the
called the FE.
challenge. It was a pretty good challenge. It wasn't like one team was dominating. There were flips that we saw. The favorites team had the early lead. The fans got to flip it around, and then the favorites were able to finish out strong. So it was nice to see a good teamwork component. If you're a football fan, you certainly would have enjoyed it. And then even later in the immunity challenge, it was pretty cool seeing, again, we kind of saw this before, where you're shooting a I guess like these like colored coconuts kind of things into a net, and half your team is essentially holding up the net. And whichever team's net gets filled up faster means, like, it's heavier for your own team to hold it. And whoever's net drops, the other team wins. And unfortunately, the favorites were not able to take this one away. But I just thought that both challenges that we saw in this episode were really good.
I agree. I agree. Um, so, and you know what the fun thing is that since so far immunity challenges have been even, that means the next episode we get to see a different tribe storyline, which is cool. Uh, as we go to episode 4. Now, this storyline, it's a little simpler, but I think still fascinating. It's still the 3 older tribesmen, Kathy, Tracy, and Chet, are still separated from the rest. Although now it's 6 people, not 7, because they had voted out Mary previously, uh, which was led by Joel. Uh, so this time, once again, they look to be in danger, and Chet specifically in grave danger, because now, other than judging a book by its cover, now he is proving to be quite the liability, both in challenges and at camp, not helping with anything. Really not looking good for Chet. And this, it probably should have been Chet. However, Tracy is, so in my opinion, dragging her own 3-person alliance along to save them, where she talks to Joel. And it starts off with just like, oh, who do you think you're voting for? And he admits it's probably going to be Kathy or Chet, which is awkward because Chet's also right there, but I guess Joel doesn't care about that. And Tracy goes for this Hail Mary attempt of just saying, why are you letting Mikey boss you around? And Joel's like, well, is that what's happening? I don't know. And he's like, yeah. I mean, he doesn't want you here. He's eventually going to get you. You're letting him call the shots. Even Chet, credit to him, he throws out oh, what did Mikey think of the other vote? Which of course Mikey was mad, so Joel's going to say that himself. Uh, and they gamble that this conversation will lead Joel to vote with them against Mikey, which would only be 4 people, by the way, so they would need to flip another person on top of that. but by God, it actually works. But so yeah, what do you think of this whole exchange of Tracy and Chet and Joel?
Good on Tracy using that, you know? I feel like a lot of it is, knowing their egos, and the ego at play was like, "No, I can't be seen like a little," like, you I think they made, like, a little, like, a cow she made, like, a cow noise of, like, just following, like, a cow or something, I don't know. Like, just basically being like, "You just follow, you're a follower. You're no leader. You may think you are, but he's calling all the shots. You're just following him," you know? And he's like, "Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that you said that." And that got to him. Like, she got under his skin, and I like that play. I thought that was very cool, Tracy. That's very well done.
It was awesome. Yeah, I was not expecting it because I was not expecting the person who ended up getting eliminated get eliminated. I thought for sure that Chet would be on the outs given everything that we've seen. But I love that sequence because it shows you how observant Tracy was and how she just kind of played a masterclass there. She laid the bait down and he absolutely bit. You know, she essentially questioned his masculinity. She's like, hey, are you gonna like let this guy like walk all over you and, you know, take charge in a position where you're able to take charge yourself? Are you just gonna be a follower or are you gonna like let him essentially walk all over you? And she knew exactly how to put it in a way that like really made him question like why am I doing this? Why am I even working with him? Why like forget the physicality here. I need to get Mikey B out. And like I should have done that. He was even questioning maybe I should have even done it like before targeting Mary. Like it really had him thinking that like, oh, how am I playing this game? It's the first time we've seen someone talk to someone in Survivor in a way that makes them question their entire game. So I just thought that was amazing. And this leads to a question I have for both of you, actually, where, you know, even as we're getting into tribal, like the one thing I like to think about is like, what do you need to be prioritizing? And we've probably had these discussions before, but, you know, if you're starting a season of Survivor, right? Like whatever tribe that you're part of, you're playing this group game and your tribe needs to go to tribal and you know you have to choose to vote someone out. What do you generally factor in the early part of the season before you worry about a post-merge setting? Do you factor someone who is keeping someone who is strong physically but could have like a weaker mental game? Or do you factor keeping someone who's strong strategically even though they're not potentially helping you win challenges?
Tale as old as time.
I feel like so I guess I mean it's pretty complicated. There's multi-layered because it depends on who I'm working with in the beginning. You know, I do not want to take out anybody that I'm working with, despite them being strong mentally or physically, or socially. I will just want to work with them, period. Point blank. I feel like if you are doing well and you're on my team, I want you to do well as well so we could all do well. But I think taking all that away, I do think in the very beginning phases, it is to keep the strong people with you, because if we keep the strong people with us, we don't have to go home and we don't have to go through this whole tribal thing. It's the
Hmm.
fact that we keep losing to physical challenge. I mean, like nowadays, it's like you got to keep a good puzzler. You got to keep a good like a physical challenge guy because there's a puzzle in the end. So you may be really good physically, but if you're a bad puzzler, it's gonna be bad. So you got to keep a good puzzler and a good physical person. So I think in the beginning, it would be to keep a good physical person to carry the team.
Your thoughts, Will?
It all comes down to where in the game my alliance is. Because if our alliance is doing poorly, then you do need to know when to jump ship. And so then that could even mean targeting your own alliance or just agreeing to whatever the other people want to do. But if our alliance is in a good position, then even if we lose, I'm confident it's not going to be me getting voted out. So at that point, I could take out whoever I want, whoever I think is the biggest threat, even if that person is also a physical threat and that would hurt us in the challenges. But if my alliance is good, then I don't got to worry about that because I'm not going to be a target. Um, I get all things being equal, which would be like the very first vote. Let's say you So you would lean towards targeting the weakest person, but it's really only because it's an easy sell. Because it's the very first vote, you just need to make it not be you and agree to whatever's easy. So you work with your allies, and then whatever's easiest to come across, I would say. But after that, you just do the calculations of, all right, what's best for me and my alliance, and what impact will that have next time. So I think it's nuanced. At this point in the game, season 16, we are definitely past where it is a foregone conclusion it's always the weakest. Because in the very beginning, like season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like the single digit ones, it's pretty clear. Like if you're looked at the weakest, there's almost nothing that could be done to save you at that point. Like no one's thinking ahead to the post merge. But I think it's fair to say at this point, people at least think about it, whether or not they act on it, but they're thinking about it.
Yeah, I think for me, it's like you said, like if you're looking at all things equal, it's just a situation where every season I've seen has not really swayed my opinion on this. I think for the early game, I would generally just try to get the weakest person out if I see that they are, regardless of if they're part of my alliance or not, just because I'm seeing it as where, like, if it's dragging us down and we're getting sent to tribals, these are tribals we do not need to be having, and that's creating extra opportunities for even me to get voted out, even if I feel like I'm in a position of strength. And as you said, Will, like it can be an easy sell, like because a lot of other people are thinking that. And that's why I bring up this question at this point, because it's the way that we see the fan side vote. The first two picks that they voted out, I would probably say are like were not their weakest or even like close. Like I would think that Mary's could have even arguably been like physically their strongest girl. And then they just voted out Mikey B, who's probably their second strongest guy. And so it's like, it's fascinating that they did not go in that direction, that like they think that they were thinking about it, but that didn't necessarily sway their votes. And I
Sure.
just think
I mean,
that
the first
generally,
time
yeah, go ahead.
I would say that Joel made the strategic decision to weaken Mikey B. The second time, I don't know if it's too harsh to say he was tricked, but I guess he was influenced by Tracy. And for Tracy, it doesn't matter who's the weakest because she's included in the weakest group. So it would be bad if the weakest start getting picked off. So for Tracy specifically, I mean that definitely makes sense to try to save Chet. You can arguably Joel should not have been swayed is the issue.
Yeah, I think regardless of the context here, like I'm looking at it as like, are we putting ourselves in a position where, again, if we're going into more physical challenges, I trust that majority of my tribe can power through this. And I think with some of the members that they've just cut, you are in a better position than you are today. And that is what kind of becomes a concern. Like strategically, it could work out, but the problem becomes like you're now setting yourself up potentially to have to go to more tribals than you would have if, like, if you have people who are more in the game, who are competing and doing things. Not to labor on this point, but I think the other thing that really surprised me with how this vote went is, Chet was someone who didn't even show up and help out like during the camp sections, just like helping set things up in camp or scavenge or do anything else, and people would be complaining about that. Whereas Mikey, every time we saw him, he was doing something at least. Like even if you're worried that strategically, he could take charge of the tribe, he's at least doing something to help the tribe and setting things up or helping with fire or doing something to at least help out. So something to keep an eye out for how it translates into their future wins if they can get things together.
First of all, I can't agree that even if they're in my alliance, I'd vote for them because that's the point of alliance. That would be suicide. I can't. I have to before I turn my alliance. I need to acquire a new alliance in that case. So I just want to throw that out there. You can't. The only time is like I said, like all is lost. You if like my alliance is doomed anyway, then you could flip. Okay, that's fine. Which maybe that's what Eliza did in the previous episode. So I just want that stated. And second of all,
Yeah, I agree with that.
you may have a good reason for being confused, because even I did not know this. Had to go to the Survivor Wiki for this. The show lied to you, because what the show showed us was like 2 votes for Chet and all the other ones for Mikey B. But in fact, it was 4 votes Chet, 4 votes Mikey, 1 vote Jason. How could this be? Why did the show lie to you?
Wait.
Well,
Wait, what?
Wait,
uh,
really?
on yes, really. So there's debate online of why it aired this way, but the original vote was a tie. 4 Chet, 4 Mikey, 1 Jason. So what's weird is that Alexis, Eric, Jason, and Mikey B all voted for Chet, which makes sense. That's what they wanted to do. Chet, Kathy, and Tracy voted for Mikey B. That's what they wanted to do. Natalie, unexplained why, voted for Mikey B. So that's 4. And then Joel voted for neither of them, for Jason, which means it was a tie. 4-4. And then it followed the rules of today, which is if there's a tie, the people who are tied can't vote, and there's a revote. And on the revote, it was 5 votes Mikey B, 2 votes Chet, and Mikey
Wait,
goes home.
What? Why did they cut that
Oh,
out?
yeah, that changes
I
everything.
think they like also I don't know if it changed everything, but it means
Well, I'll
that
explain.
it's maybe they just didn't have a good enough reason to show it. What somebody's on a thread online and from an interview that not Joel but Mikey B would do, because Mikey B can do interviews once he gets voted out and goes home, or rather once he's voted out because he is home after, when the season's airing. Mikey B says that Joel believed that in the event of a tie, there would be fire making to see who goes home.
Oh.
And so he wanted because Joel weirdly doesn't vote for either Chet or Mikey B. So maybe Joel was like, well, the better man will survive in fire making or something like that. But Joel was wrong. That's not how ties are done. And instead it's what you're used to, the revote. And on the revote, Joel did vote for Mikey B. So maybe there was like a weird reaction where people were surprised that that's how ties work and they didn't want to air that, even though like you could just cut that out. But they just skipped to the revote. So that's the extra context here to this vote. It's still the same. The same. Like Joel is still
Yeah.
choosing to vote out Mikey B. The one unexplained is Natalie. I don't know if we'll get that next episode. Natalie also, maybe they must have talked to Natalie. Otherwise, why would she know to even vote for Mikey B? But there you go. Okay, you can react because clearly you're surprised.
Yeah, I was wow. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is very puzzling for Joel in particular, because didn't he not vote for the person in the last sequence of episodes we watched where he was driving the vote as well? He didn't vote for Mary when she got eliminated.
Yes, but I think I headcanoned that to be he was just protecting against some kind of idol play or something. I don't really know. It was unaddressed.
Well, this is the thing, that if we saw the initial set of votes, we would realize that, oh, okay, even though this time around technically he wasn't driving the vote against Mikey B, he helped facilitate that. And again, he himself was not one of the people even voting for Mikey B. So if I'm looking at that, that seems very odd. Like it just either he's very puzzled in terms of what he's doing, or he's formulated this other strategy that we're just not aware of yet.
Yeah, it's odd. It also helps explain. So like Mikey B's last words, like at the end of the episode, he's like, he said, and we heard this. Am I surprised? No, because I'm playing with a bunch of weak players who listen to Joel. But the thing is, at first I was like, with so many people voting for you, how do you know it was even Joel that would have done that? But when it's a tie, that means it's the 3 it's Tracy, Chet, and Kathy +1, and he probably just assumes the +1 was Joel, which technically is wrong because Joel didn't vote for him. But that I think that helped explain the comments, and then on the revote, I guess enough people voted for Mikey. It's bizarre. I I think the story we're presented with is still the story that's gonna matter, but it's just weird.
Yeah, no doubt. It's that is wow, that is quite a well, I mean, literally not a change, but like it really changes how the episode is framed. Because
The citation is, "This is the first and only known time that a vote has been unaired uh, in the US series."
interesting.
Wow. Did you know about this, Will, or did you even didn't know until just now?
No, I don't think I knew, or if I did, I've like long forgotten about it. In fact, I think like when I planned our watching schedule, I might have like reminded myself of how the votes went, and I was like, "Ooh, a revote. We should make that be part of our like the second batch." And I totally forgot. So then it didn't happen. I was like, "Huh?" Uh, but yeah,
Yeah, while
it's
I'm still
just
surprised
odd.
ultimately that Chet didn't get voted out, it was, I mean, like that context would have helped, that like at least more people were willing to vote him out than what we saw. So
Yeah, for sure.
I
That's important. Because I was like, no way nobody was in agreement to vote Chet. Because Chet just felt like they were done. Like he felt like he was out of this game mentally, physically. And it makes sense to why would you want to keep someone that's not in it? You're not gonna win, there if he doesn't want to stay in there. But to see that, oh, it's a revote, see where it is, I get it a lot more now. It makes more sense, than it did originally. Because I was like, wait, what? What's happening?
Yeah,
yeah,
the last
no,
I'll
it
say on it.
definitely
So as a reminder, Alexis, Eric, Jason, and Mikey B are the people that voted for Chet. In a revote, Mikey B can't vote. Uh, Alexis and Jason continue to vote for Chet, and it's Eric that flips, though it wouldn't have mattered because they had enough without him. But um, just weird. So, Mikey B, do you wish to see Mikey B again?
No.
nope. That's a nope from me, dog.
I feel like Mikey didn't do anything. Mikey B didn't do much wrong. I kind of feel
He
bad
didn't do
for him.
much
He didn't. He
wrong, but he also
just
didn't do much, period.
wrong place at the wrong time. He thought to play top dog around Joel. No way.
I guess, there was that one interaction at the beginning of the episode where Mikey B's talking to Joel. It says like, "I think we should vote for Chet. And if you do, that would prove something to me." Maybe that was more aggressive than it needed to be. Because he's basically trying to
Yeah.
say like, you better vote this way or else I won't be on your side anymore, type of thing.
It just
Yeah, I
shows
could see
that
that.
it can be quite easy to manipulate Joel as well, like based on how much he weighs what people say to him. So again, something to watch for when it comes to Joel.
Indeed, indeed. The two challenges from episode 4, one of them, the reward challenge, was diver down. And that's when each you need 4 people from your tribe to swim out to a floating platform, and there's this big cage, like a vertical cage or no, horizontal cage in the water, and there's a bunch of coconuts in them. So you need to dive down and then hit the coconuts until they get out of the cage, and then they'll float back up. Um, and then once you've done all of that, you put them in in that floating platform and then swim it to shore, and the rest of the tribe will then unscramble. We use the words to have like a really complicated looking word puzzle based on that. Um, and the one cool thing here is that Ozzy continues to flex his uh, water skills, but this time also strategic skills too, because he's like, well, I'll go down because I could hold my breath forever apparently, and I'll just spend time hitting the coconuts as far to the end as possible because I'm not allowed to like hit more than one out, but there's no rule against me moving all of them almost out, so the rest of my team has it easy. Uh, and that's exactly what they do. And then they fall behind at the beginning, of course, but they are able to retake the lead and ultimately win this challenge, which was hens and a rooster that they got.
Yeah, Ozzy was essentially the MVP this episode. Not only, helping his team heavily in both the challenges, but then on top of that, securing a hidden immunity idol for himself on Exile Island, which so far he hasn't revealed to anyone.
Very true. Very true. Will Ozzy be better than most modern day survivors and not tell anybody? We shall see.
Or he's gonna tell Amanda right away. We shall see.
Uh, uh, the immunity challenge was called Crosswalk, and this is odd. You're like 6 of you are gonna be harnessed in to, it's kind of like those things you see in pizzas, the little table that keeps the lid of the pizza box closed, and so it's like a cross, but instead of like 2, it's 3 poles crossed, and at the end of each of those poles, you are harnessed in, and after unlocking yourselves, you're all able to slide back and forth your pole, and you're gonna navigate through an obstacle course, which was kind of just the woods, but still, you gotta get through it while collecting these necklaces that have uh puzzle not puzzle pieces, but more like also kind of like the last challenge. You're gonna get all these letters, and you're gonna use the letters to solve a word puzzle. So actually, 2 word puzzles, same episode. Um, this time, the favorites dominate this, and the fans just can't get on the same page at all. Like pretty much everyone was bad. Maybe Eric was a little worse. He couldn't figure out the lock, but at the end of the day, they just got crushed, um, which allowed the favorites to win. So those are the 2 challenges. Uh, you liking the challenges so far through 4 episodes?
Yeah, I like these so far. I do think I think they're fun. I think that one was really fun. It was very like cooperative. You gotta really work together and like showing like it really shows the ones that are communicating well are doing better. So yes, I do like it.
Yeah, episode 3 had the highlight for me. I think this episode 2, at least the water challenge, the first one, was pretty cool to watch. For the most part, yeah, they've been pretty good.
Yeah, I think so far, sample size of 4 episodes, the challenges have been more closer to what you would think of, like, old versions of today's challenges, because there's still, like, strenuous activity that ends with a puzzle, but importantly, not a block puzzle, because all last season, China was like, "Do you like this, or do you like obstacle course plus block puzzle?" So at least the puzzles are somewhat different. Again, although there were 2 word puzzles in the same episode, but still.
Hmm.
So we'll see how long that goes. Um, but yeah, I think is there anything else you wanted to talk about across these 2 episodes?
Oh, yes, I do wanna mention how I do not like James in China, and I still don't like James, period. Sometimes, he was cool in the beginning in China, but then he started losing me because he is mean. He's a mean man, okay? We see this part where, Eliza gets sick, like, she's not feeling so good, she's resting out, and he's basically saying she's dying, and that we should have just taken her out instead, and then, like, it just kinda feels bad, I feel like maybe I'm used to, like, the current new era where things are just good vibes, good vibes only, and, like, if you're sick, it's like, "Oh, are you feeling okay? Are you f" it's like you worry, you wanna help them, but this one, they're just like, "I regret not taking you out." Like, "It should've been you then. It should've been you. Ugh, why are you sick now? You're not gonna help us. You're about to
Well,
die."
I think a big factor is and she's sitting right there. Like, this isn't talking behind her back.
Yes,
This is
that's the worst part, and that's what
behind your back
James
in front of your
does.
face.
That is so clearly China James. James did that in China too. He didn't change. He was mean. He called people out. He's like not in a way where like, oh, you need to call out. It's just he just says things and he's not a nice guy. And the fact that, I feel that it's just very, very rude. And I wonder like if like, I don't know, if Parvati was feeling this way, would he have said the same or not? Like, does his game precede his game like his gameplay? I don't know. Um his relationships with Parvati, does it go override that? I'm not sure. I just feel like I don't like him. He is not nice. I do not like this energy going on here.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
just
but
such a contrast from like the first impression we got even out of China, where
Yes.
he came across more as reserved. And I don't know if this is the true James, but like this is the side that we've kind of seen more. And unfortunately, it's like it's more of the same, like he's getting high off his own supply kind of thing, where that led to his downfall in China, where he's set up perfectly to make it to the very end and just decides not to use either of his idols because, he's just, I don't know if it's overconfidence or something else, but it's like you're seeing aspects of that come out even right now where he feels safe to just call things out like they are. Where, I mean, why do you think Mikey B just got eliminated, right? Like just speaking casually to someone can get you voted out. And clearly James does not have to worry about that. So it's one of those things where it's weird to see that he's not thinking a little bit more before saying things.
yeah, so you're telling me you don't agree with the great company known as Sprint for voting him the fan favorite of the season for last season.
Yeah, that was BS. He's not a fan
Well,
favorite.
I mean, I think compared to like the other cast members, he's more entertaining. So in that regard, like I could see the vote for him. Like I don't know who else I would vote for personally. I would probably myself vote for James. But like, if it's this season that we're talking about, then yeah, I have some other options. I would vote instead of James.
Yeah, interesting. I think James also is kind of what you said. Like he once again finds himself in what feels like a good position on paper. I agree. Last time was a way better position that he totally fumbled. But in this situation, especially after the vote out of YAU-MAN, he is in the majority alliance, it would seem, assuming Cirie chooses to stay with them. And even if he wasn't, it's unlikely he'd be the target because they want to prioritize strength for the challenges. So he probably feels very safe. But yeah, you're just don't burn bridges. Like there could come a time when you need Eliza's vote, and she's gonna remember this. Like I might have considered it, but you didn't care about me when I was sick, so F you.
It just
Uh,
makes me confident that he's not going to win this season. Like it gives me
Yeah,
confidence in that.
for sure, which is good.
get
I like that. I don't want him to win, and I don't want him to come back.
Yeah, actually it would be hard anyway because after the merge, like a challenge beast is such a threat. Um, unless you're Ozzy and you literally like win every single challenge through the end, which is what he did. but um, but yeah, I might have had us do like the anti-winner pick, like guess who's not gonna win. But the problem is like you've got a 19 and 20 chance of being right about that, so there's not really any stakes.
Yeah.
But maybe one day we'll do the like who's gonna go out next. But that's a lot for me to track, so I'm not prepared to do that for you yet. But one day we could do your next one out predictions would be called.
Ooh, okay.
Uh, that being said, what we are doing is continuing our winner picks. So last time, and you had picked Amanda and Ozzy as your winner picks. They're both still here, so good job. Do you wish to change from either of them?
I think I'm gonna stay with mine, but Ozzy, depending on how he plays, I might switch over. I might jump ship from this couple, but we'll see. We'll see.
They're on probation base, or at least Ozzy's on probation.
Yes, Ozzy is. Amanda, I like. I still do like her. She's very soft spoken. She's very sweet. I don't think she's done anything yet to make me annoyed.
You know what a cute moment was when that conversation with Cirie, Amanda, and Parvati. Cirie kind of doing what James did, but in a different way. She just straight up says like, "I'm not comfortable with either of you because of your showmances," basically. And Amanda is like, "Oh, like if you want me to like put things off with Ozzy, like I'll do it." But then both Suri and Parvati are like, "Oh no, 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 don't do that. Like you should continue that so that like he won't ask any questions."
Don't stop having. You could have your Ozlets. I was like, what the? I was
Yeah.
dying.
So I guess that
Quote
you
of
could
the
extract. Maybe it's
episode.
thinking too. Yeah, maybe this is thinking too deep into it, but maybe that's the difference between how Parvati and Cirie look at that situation,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
as an opportunity versus
They play it.
Amanda
They
thinking
think
of
of it as a gameplay, and I feel like I truly think that Amanda has feelings for Ozzy. That's more real like than we think is more like Parvati. I feel like it's just like I don't know, like I wasn't thinking of it, but maybe. And then it's like, but also it's like I'll drop it anytime. Versus I feel like Amanda, although can drop Ozzy for her game, she does have feelings for him. And I think, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I can't tell. I can't predict that part, but I think that she does like him.
I
Versus Parvati
mean,
doesn't
I
like
think it's
James,
clear there's
period.
some feelings. I mean, they're literally just like making out at night, so there's something.
Yeah, yeah. I'm eager to see how things go with that with relationships because we have not seen where a relationship got like a big betrayal, like a showman's betrayal, I don't think. It's been if they were leaving, it was because someone else like voted them out kind of thing. And so I'm curious how things are gonna go with the four.
hmm The last I remember, I think, would have been 45, a season that you have not seen, F, and you may have seen, and though you maybe forgot everything.
Oh,
But
I think
um,
yes, I think I remember. But also, like, I
uh,
mean, the last season we just watched with the girl, what's her name? Oh man, I forgot already. The one where there was a very uncomfortable post
oh,
talk about
Frosty and Courtney.
Frosty
Is
and
that who you're
Cordia, but
thinking of?
also someone else. No, the other one. Was it Austin? Was his name?
Eric and
No.
Jamie?
Yes, yes, you're great. Wow, F, you're great at memorizing names. Yes, Eric and Jamie. They were a couple, but they didn't take each other out though. Like
They
he
didn't take each
didn't
other out.
vote
That's right.
her out. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, F. You have Eric and Parvati. Do you wish to change from either of them? Has anyone else impressed
No.
you enough to support them? Oof, that's
No,
so
I think
rude
at
to all
least
the
for
other
the
people, but very well.
the Parvati pick, I was feeling very concerned about that. At least with these two episodes, I feel a little bit better. Eric, I have no reason to think that he's in any danger right now.
Yeah, I think Eric, like, has avoided being a part of all this drama going on, which is good short term, could also be good long term. Now it could be bad. Maybe that means he's being written off the show, basically. But at the very least, because whatever the fallout's gonna be from this, you would think it involves Joel himself. Jason's mad. The three people in the minority alliance. So hopefully that would mean that Eric's not on the chopping block. But we shall see. We shall see how that goes. Very good. All right. So we've gotten through another two episodes of fans versus favorites, and we are officially underway. I think now, both sides have lost two people. They've been on the island for let's see how long? Almost 2 weeks. It looks like night 11 was this tribal council. So that when we come back, it'll be day 12. So everyone's been here for a while. We know they all fans and favorites know what this season's gonna be like. And we can just zoom forward to see who's gonna to walk away with the victory.
Indeed.
Um,
I'm excited.
but all right, thanks everyone for tuning in to this episode of Island Life, and tune in next time as we continue on the road to glory to see who will come out on top. Will it be the fans or the favorites? But until then, and until we speak again, ciao.